downtown week. So glad to be here at the bedroom and supporting local communities. It's really been challenging for our rural businesses, and I think it's just time to for us to reflect on how important it is that the rural businesses survive and you know make it profitable because it's our businesses that support the communities, especially when it comes to donating and to having barbecues and just helping out when there really isn't any other support but small businesses.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's interesting to chat with other businesses downtown. We're all in the same boat. We love doing business the way we do business. You know, everyone's passionate about what they do, whether it's selling flowers or sporting equipment or furniture. Um, everyone's got a passion for um, doing business that way in a small local level.
Yeah.
But there's no question it is getting tough. There's the amount of layers in taxation and cost are definitely they're apparent,
Mm.
and were then noticeable.
What would you
And
like to see? What would help you the most?
I think it's super challenging to when I look through all the you know understand why they've done certain things that they've done, but whether it's the municipal level, the taxes they've had to, okay, I get it. Things have gone up, and so they're trying to raise money, but that was a big hit this year. In many cases, our property values went up, and then the taxation rate went up. So my property taxes are up like 13, 14%. And when you say 13, 14%, we're talking about not just thousands of dollars, but tens of thousands of dollars that is right to our bottom line as a business here. Because we got a pretty big footprint. But even the small mom and pop, smaller locations, they're feeling that exact same crunch.
Yeah.
And then the health tax that was downloaded onto small businesses, that was ended up being $30,000 to $40,000 a year. And then let alone you raise the minimum wage, so now your wages go up. Carbon tax adds tax to all the stuff that's going on in your business. So we're trying to find efficiencies, but we can only do so much. I got to use gas to heat this place. Yeah, and you try to find efficiencies with your trucking and those sorts of things, but of course that's all gone up too. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
we're talking about the negatives. There's so many positives right now, but
yeah.
there's no question there is a pinch um, that we're starting to feel that is a little bit challenging.
Yeah, it's really interesting too to see the camaraderie with the other stores similar to yours in town, where you're working together to try to build your businesses up, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really important in smaller communities. It's not like one big box store that's running everything. It's like we live off small businesses, and when I said earlier, it when you aren't making any money and you can't contribute to the local community, that's what really stings.
Mm-hmm.
When like the barbecues or helping nonprofits out, whether it's Salvation Army or whoever you're donating to. When you can't do that, that's time when it's really a problem. And I guess what I see on the federal side is I like to see small government because government doesn't seem to do a very good job running a business. And if we got out of that and let businesses run business and came to you and said, okay, federally, how can we help you? And if you're more successful, that means more tax dollars to the federal government,
Mm-hmm.
which means now we have more money. So, how do we have you be more successful so that by you reinvesting in your company, you're going to hire more people, you're going to do something different, you're going to contribute more to your community as well. That's where I think the win-win is to have you successful so that you can reinvest,
Mm-hmm.
which helps Canada in paying back our debt that we have. And we accumulated debt for a lot of reasons, but you have to pay it back. And as long as we spend money we don't have, inflation's going to go up, and of course that's very damaging. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I'm sad about is that a lot of levels of government have almost villainized business. It's the big bad business that is causing everything to go up. Whereas really it's almost the opposite. Like you start to get a little bit, oh, you're getting kicked in the teeth in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And I've heard
Yeah.
some businesses, there's other issues that go on with business too, whether it's the homeless issues and those sorts of things too. But um, there is some entrepreneurs that are like, I maybe just had enough.
Yeah.
But it can be hard to get out of business too because you've made huge investments in whether it's real estate or um,
How about inventory?
or inventory
I
or
can't imagine what inventory you have here. I can't even imagine how
yeah,
much that is.
it's a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
a lot.
But yeah, small businesses were kind of frowned upon. It looked like, and I think that's we do struggle a bit with that urban rural divide where the urban centers maybe don't know as much about their businesses that are there because they're not like us rural where we know people walk in, say hi, see you on the street, we know everybody. So we have that bit of that divide where we're so supportive of small business because I know a lot of my family work in small businesses, so obviously they they know the benefits of small business. Some people just don't see that in the big cities. So I think it's time that we really look at how the federal government can support your groups, restaurants, any small business, and that includes, like you said, we do have some issues here with our with the addiction crisis and the damage that's being done, and that really cuts into profits of small businesses as well, who used to donate a lot to nonprofits that are now not able to donate.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a sliding effect
Yeah,
throughout
for,
our community.
for sure. I mean, I think Cranbrook was quite resilient, and a lot of small towns pivoted quickly through what was happening with COVID and found ways to be creative to run their businesses. And I thought there'd be a lot of businesses that would just go away, and I was actually really impressed how many just rolled up their sleeves and fought through it really because it was a bit of a fight and a battle. Um, and so it was really reassuring to see that. And I think now seeing businesses being able to refocus back on their business. I know for us there was just so many things coming at you that you were distracted, but now we're refocusing and Rob, you'd said the store looks great. I think it does look great. And I think a lot of businesses in town have kind of upped their game a little bit, gone back to some of the basics with customer service, and I think there's just some really good positive things that way. And as far as Cranbrook downtown, it's always been a sort of slow, positive progression, in my opinion. You see businesses that are, whether they're renovating or improving or new businesses. There's a bunch of new businesses downtown here that are great. So I think it's still a great place to do business, and
Yeah,
happy to be
downtown
down here.
downtown Cranbrook is revitalizing for sure,
Mm-hmm.
and it does look great, and it brings people down here,
Mm-hmm.
and people shop.
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't you shop and like the service, and they'll be back. And I guess the other thing is inventory. You're getting inventory now,
Yeah.
where that was a problem too for a little bit.
Big problem. And I think all businesses are a little bit more on track. There's still some challenges
Yeah,
out there for sure, but yeah, I think a lot of people compare Cranbrook to say, oh, I wish we were more like Nelson, and I actually strongly disagree. I think Cranbrook's got its own vibe and its own thing. In our
mm-hmm.
Baker Street, we have the luxury of having a nice, wide, open Baker Street. We can have all sorts of cool festivals and stuff like that down here. And as we just kind of nibble away at some of the things and some of the improvements that we're trying to do, it just again it continues to get a little bit better
Mm-hmm.
every year. So
I agree.
the outdoor patios that you start to see, there's a couple of them now, and
Yeah,
there's getting more and more. So
yeah.
it's creating more vibrancy as well. So there's good small positives happening.
Thank God for the heat the last little while.
Yeah, and the tents under the
Yeah,
so you got a place to be under.
yeah.
Yeah. So for us, what we've been trying to do, and it's personally I feel somewhat responsible. We haven't had a chance to push something forward. We've been trying to do, which is a downtown business investment area, um, where we actually get all the businesses on a little bit more on the same page. Perhaps get a paid person, perhaps leverage some of the provincial and federal money that is for downtowns, so that we can actually maybe speed up the process of revitalization.
Yeah, and I think again, smaller communities have learned that working together is so much more successful.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a furniture store, whether it's a clothing store, a restaurant, everybody getting together and saying, let's just work together. How do we make this work? And everybody succeeds,
Yeah,
rather than being on an island. Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
yeah,
And you get trapped doing your daily thing, and
yeah,
you forget to compare notes with your neighbors. But we're trying to circle back around to that and be a little bit better that way.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, I guess from our standpoint, I think what you're saying, Rob, is all the stuff that we supporting small business is so important. I think the general public, some have forgotten just how important that small business is from a employment standpoint, from an investment standpoint, from a service standpoint, and not looking at the business owners as the villain, but as the opportunity to create more economic output in our community and not be so reliant on government stuff.
I agree totally. I think private's where it's at. Yeah, government has a hard time doing any kind of business. It's just not their money, so it's difficult, right? You spend $1 million in government, and if you waste it or something happens to it, you just go get another million.
Yeah.
In business, you spend $1 million, you don't have it,
You're out of business.
You're out of business. So yeah, totally different perspective. But yeah, no, thanks. Really appreciate spending the time, and it's really important for our communities to understand the value and just how important it is to support our local businesses. And this is a big business, so this is not a tiny little business.
We're still pretty small. We just take up a lot of space.
Well, the city will be happy with that,
Yeah.
the taxes, but yeah.